Hey, you guys. All right, so I already went over this problem in class, but I thought that I would put it on here so you could update your notes. I have some of my thoughts that I go through when I'm solving this, and it looks like I wrote on something. So this is how you would do it. Go ahead and put this in your notes if you didn't already. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to learn how to solve this system using matrices. So typically when we're doing this, we would probably, we could get the y's by itself, get y equals something, see where they cross, graph them. We could solve for one variable, do substitution. We could use elimination. So I'm going to do it really quick with elimination because that is what we're using in the advancing skills for a 3x3. So I went ahead and I solved this by elimination. So the first thing I did is I multiplied this, I decided to get rid of the x's, and I multiplied this entire equation by -5, and then I multiplied this entire one by 2, and that gave me a negative 10x minus 25y equals 0, and 10x minus 6y equals 62, because I had to multiply 2 to all of these. Then I added them up together. Negative 10x plus 10x is 0. Negative 25y plus negative 6y is negative 31, and 0 plus 62 is 62. Well, then I just needed to isolate my variable, which was y. I divided by negative 31 because it was being multiplied by 31. Divided both sides, I ended up with y equals negative 2. Well, then I ended up doing this. Then I took what I got and I plugged it into the original equation. I just chose the first one. I could have done the second one. It wouldn't have mattered. I knew what y was and it would work no matter what. So I plugged it into the first one, and I ended up with 2x minus 10 equals 0. I add 10 to both sides. Then to get the x by itself, I divided by 2, and ended up with x equals 5. Well, there's a much easier way to do this on our calculator, and it looks something like this. So matrix A inverse B equals 5, negative 2. Well, if x was first, that was 5, and y was negative 2. That was so much easier than all the work I did. Now I'm going to teach you how to do that. So we're going to learn how to solve systems with matrices using a calculator. So we are going to use a matrix equation for the following system and solve for x and y. So the first thing that I want to make note of is that this curly Q bracket just means it's a system. And then when we're talking about matrices, I'm going to refer to the first one as row 1. So everything that's in this is going to relate to row 1, and this one will be row 2. If we had more than that, let's say we had 3 or 4, I would just go down row 3, row 4. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 3 different matrices that we're going to create using this system. Matrix 1 will have all of the coefficients from the system. So when I say the word coefficient, what I mean is the number in front of the variable. So the number in front of this x, if there isn't one, is a 1. The number in front of the y is a 1. This does not have a variable with it, so it is not a coefficient, it's a constant. The number in front of this one is 2, that's the coefficient. And the coefficient for y right here is 1. So I'm going to go ahead and create my first matrix. Well, here, I'll do it down here. And I'm going to put the coefficients. So 1, 1, that's all of row 1. And then row 2, 2, 1. So my matrix A has all of the coefficients for each row. Now we're going to talk about matrix 2. The second matrix will have all the variables that are in the system. So x and y are the only 2 variables that are in this system. They are written in alphabetical order, which is something we want to make sure. So we would want our systems to be in alphabetical order. And we want to make sure that we have only the variables on one side and the constants on the other side of the equal sign. It could be flipped where it says 8 equals 1x plus 1y. That's fine. We just want everything on one side of the equal sign and the other side of the equal sign. So since that I only have x and y, I'm going to go ahead and write my second matrix, x and y, in alphabetical order. And a way you can check your work is if I multiply row 1 by column 1, because this is a multiplication problem, if I do that, I'm going to get 1x plus 1y. Well, that's what I have right here, and that's what I want represented. Now we're going to talk about the third. So matrix 3 will have the answers or the constants from the system. So that would be these ones right here. They're the numbers without variables. So just like what I have before there, I'm going to write equals, and then I'm going to write them. Row 1 would be 8, and row 2 would be 1, just like that. So now that we have, and this will be our matrix B. So when I'm asking you to show your work on the test, or was Miss Wadley's trying to get the work from you on the test, this is what we're looking for when we ask you to show your work. So on your paper, we want to see matrix A represented with all the coefficients. We want to see your variables in the second matrix, and we want to see matrix B with the answers. Now I'm going to show you how to enter this in your calculator. Here are the steps. So there is a lot of back and forth doing this. And so we are going to start with, hopefully you have those matrices from before written down. If you do not have matrix A and B written down on your paper, you're going to want to rewind this and go back and write that down. So the first thing I'm going to do is, everyone should start with a clear screen. If it doesn't say clear, hit clear twice. Then you're going to hit the second button, which is this blue one. You're going to look for this x to the -1. Do you see where it says matrix right above it? And you're going to click on that. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Okay, this is the screen that should come back up. You're going to use your arrow key and go over to edit. So this is where we are. We're right here. Then we're going to hit enter, which is down at the bottom. It's your equals right here. That should bring up matrix A. So now we're going to put the dimensions of matrix A. Where our matrix A on our paper was a 2 by 2. So I'm going to hit 2, enter, 2, enter. Now I can start entering the coefficients from matrix A. So now we are right. Move this up. We're going to enter the dimensions. We've already done that. We're going to use enter to move our cursor. So it's already moved to row 1, column 1. And our first one, coefficient was 1. So I'm going to hit 1, enter. Then I'm going to hit 1, enter again. Then I'm going to hit 2, enter, and then 1, enter. Then that should match what I have right here. So 1, 1, 2, 1. All right. So now what we're going to do, so we've entered in matrix A. So now we've entered the coefficients. We're going to hit second, that matrix key again, which is the x to the -1. We're going to arrow over to edit. And then we're going to arrow down because now we're going to enter in our matrix B. So enter. Our matrix B on our paper was a 2 by 1. So I'm going to hit 2, enter, 1, enter. The numbers that were inside matrix B were 8, enter, 1, enter. Now that should match exactly to what we have written down, and it does. Okay, so that's what I have right here. I am going to post these notes on my Google Classroom. Then we're going to hit second. Let me get a little bit closer. Second, you should have. And then we're going to hit this mode key that says quit. So it's second, quit. And you should come back to the main screen. Okay, so this is where we are. Should be back on the main screen. Now we're going to start entering some things in. So let's move this up. We're going to hit second, matrix again. It's on matrix A, so we're going to hit enter. Says you should see matrix A on your main screen. I do. Then I'm going to hit this inverse key, and now you should see matrix A to the -1 on my main screen, and I do. Then I'm going to hit second, matrix again, and I'm going to arrow down to B. So now we're right here, arrow down to B. And I should see, I hit enter, and I should see matrix A inverse times matrix B on my main screen, and that is what I do see. And then I'm going to hit enter, and that is my answer. So on your paper, what you're going to write down is that X and Y, this is your answer in matrix form. So I have my answers right there. There we go. -7, 15.